Welcome back to Soccer Down Here. Time for another 1v1. And when this guy signed back up with his club, we basically hounded the club and made sure that we could catch up with Austin Deleuze. So, how does it feel to be back?
It feels great. Feels great. It never gets old re-signing, I'll tell you that.
Well, and I mean, what was it like to sit there and go through this in the off season? Sit there and go, okay, I know what I want to do. I know where I am in my career, and to continue it in North Carolina. What's that been like?
It's been amazing. I feel super lucky to have had the run that I've had here, close to home, playing in front of my family and friends. And I just feel, really lucky that the club has continued to value my contributions, especially, after this past season with so much transition and change. It was nice to know that the club wanted me to be a part of the project moving forward. So I'm just couldn't be more excited about the upcoming season.
Does it feel like you've spent 7 years there already?
It does and it doesn't. All the seasons kind of start to run together, and all of a sudden you look up and you're the oldest guy in the locker room. Sometimes it feels good to know that you've sort of stood the test of time, and then other times you're like, oh man, I'm the old man in here. That's never a good feeling. But no, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun to watch the club continue to grow and progress in the way that it has over the years. So, like I said, I'm just excited to watch it continue to rise.
And so now there's going to be somebody new on the touch line, and it's a name that a lot of folks in U.S. soccer are familiar with. When Dave Sarachan is announced, what runs through your head?
I think it just kind of confirms, what I knew about, Steve Malick's ambitions for the club and where he wants to take soccer in this area. Hiring Dave is a huge step in that direction, I think. He's a guy obviously with a ton of experience, and he's going to demand more from us as players and from the club, the front office, the fans. It just kind of raises the standard across the board, and that's what we needed. I think we needed a little, shot of excitement, a shot of, that like I said, raising the standard.
So, how much interaction have the two of you had so far since he's been named?
A little bit. We got to spend a little bit of time together when he came in town for his press conference, and then when he came back after making a trip down to the MLS Combine, we actually got to sit down for a good amount of time and talk about the past and about the future, and his expectations and my experiences. So it was a great conversation. It was great to know that he wants to hear about the history of the club and how things have been done, but I think he also has a very clear vision of how he wants to do things and the direction that he wants to take the club. So it's been great. It's been really, really refreshing and nice to hear his desire to really dive into the project.
And you can divulge as much of the conversation or all of it if you would like, right here, right now. But seriously, when it comes to when it comes to having a conversation like that, I mean, divulge as much as you feel you can. But when you're in a room with someone like a Dave Sarachan, and he values your opinion coming in, hey, you've been here far longer than I have. Here's what have you seen? What have your takeaways been? What is his expectation level coming in for a team leader like yourself and for this club? We all know what the goals are off the pitch and such, but what are some of those talking points that he came across to you about in that first meeting?
I think for him it was mostly about getting a feel for the club, and like I said, getting a feel for how things have been done, what works and what doesn't. I think that's important in any time of transition is, keeping the things that you feel have gotten you to where you are and changing the things that maybe are holding you back. So it seemed like he had a really, good grasp of the things that he wanted to change and things that, he was going to try. He was very realistic. He said, some things may not work, but, it's important that we do bring a little bit of change, and try to do things a little bit differently. And it was cool for me, honestly, to sit and get to pick his brain a little bit about his, experiences over the years, and specifically about the past year, being in such a interesting position, with the national team, kind of carrying the national team through a transition period. So it was great. I look forward to spending a lot more time with him, because he's, clearly has tons to share, and I'm looking forward to learning.
What were some of your bigger lessons and takeaways from last season on the pitch at North Carolina FC?
Um, it's hard to pick out, one or two things. I
We
think
got time. We
overall,
got all the time in the world. You can pick everything you want. We got all the time in the world.
no, I think overall, just, in my experience, I think you want to continue. You don't want to lose sight of what you're trying to build, and get bogged down in sort of the day-to-day grind of surviving. You know what I mean? Surviving league play, and, picking up 3 points, every weekend is obviously the goal. But I think seeing the bigger picture here, specifically for our club, we have this humongous academy. We have an unbelievable women's team. We have some of the best facilities in the country. So keeping sight of all that, and trying to put all those pieces together to create sort of what I think can be a flagship franchise in the USL, and hopefully beyond someday. So trying to keep sight of that, while also, grinding out those results week to week in the USL. That's kind of what I think, we need to get back to, if that makes any sense.
And the roster, as you and I are talking right now, Alex Tambakis is coming back. You've got Aaron, Stephen Miller, DJ Taylor at the back. You've got you and Dre Fortune and Graham in the middle, and Donovan and Marios. Early returns on what you've seen with the guys coming in and coming back.
Yeah, it's a great core. I think it's a great, group of returning guys who know what the club's about, know what the league's about. We had a very good locker room last year. Everybody got along, no big egos, and everybody coming back, I think, has something to prove a little bit. We let ourselves down last year. We obviously missed the playoffs, and that was our goal, to get in there and see what could happen once you get into the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a hungry group of guys that are very excited to prove themselves to Dave as well, and to the new coaching staff. So yeah, looking forward to seeing all those guys back, and looking forward to bringing in some new faces as well, to continue to reinvigorate the club.
So what else do list between now and the beginning of training camp?
Just working, man. Just getting fit and getting ready. I'm bored, to be honest. I been training quite a bit with our academy teams, and getting to know those guys. I think you're going to see quite a bit more integration between our academy and our first team. So I wanted to get to know those guys as best I could heading into this year, and just continuing to strengthen those ties between all the pieces of our club, like I said.
All right, and obviously we can't let you go without asking about playing for Pride. What's the latest update there with the campaign and Athlete Ally and all of the great stuff you're doing there?
Yeah, Athlete Ally killed it. They built a website specifically for Playing for Pride, playingforpride.org. So now you can go on there. You play whatever level you're at. You can do your own Playing for Pride campaign. So now it's no longer soccer specific, no longer professional player specific. Anyone can participate, and that's kind of what it's all about for me, is that spirit of inclusivity, and so hopefully we can continue to grow it this year, and continue to help out Athlete Ally, working towards all their goals and all the great things they do as an organization.
And did I see the number right, that it's now more than 100 players, and it was $25,000 last year?
That's correct. Yeah, I think we finished the year almost at exactly $25,000 and 125 players. Yeah, so It definitely blew up. Yeah.
Well, and so then let me ask it this way: when you started playing for Pride, and you look at it now, what has it been like to see something that you probably just started on a piece of paper, or you're sitting at a desk, or in your brain, or on a napkin or something, to get it from that first stage of writing that on a piece of paper to where it is now? What's that been like?
It's been humbling. It's been really it's hard to describe how it makes me feel. I started it just out of frustration than anything else. With the sort of state of the world type deal. A lot of people are feeling that way, feeling frustrated and finding ways to act and to get involved and to try to push things in a direction that they feel is positive. That's kind of where it started for me, and so to see it have traveled as far as it has traveled and to grow in the way that it's grown, is crazy. I it gives me so much hope. I think is the biggest thing. It gives me so much hope for not only for the sporting community, but just for the world in general. That people are so enthusiastic and so passionate about making soccer a better place, making their communities a better place, and making the world a better place ultimately. So yeah, humbling and just truly inspiring to see the way that people have taken ownership of it and run with it.
Austin Deleuze, midfielder, coming back for another season with North Carolina FC. When you look on the bio, coming back for your 8th season, and it says previous club, North Carolina FC.
Yeah, there's been a few more along the way, but this one's home. I don't expect to add any more to the list. That's for sure.
Well, Austin, once again, thanks for giving us the off-season update. We know that off-season is going to be getting really short really soon. We'll be keeping an eye on things. Thanks for hanging out with us for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.